back with the news live from Cannes. Today we are reporting some actual news. We released today the 4th annual benchmark study that we, the 614 Group, produced with the folks at TAG, the Trustworthy Accountability Group in Europe. And what better place than right here in Cannes amongst all of our friends to release it. I'm very lucky as part of this release to have a good friend, Saiful Ahmed, with me today. He is the Director of Ad Technology at Omnicom Media Group and based in London. And Saiful, thanks for joining us.
Oh, thank you for having me, Rob. Yeah, great to be here. Good weather, good people and good friends and great conversation. So yeah,
nice.
Can't wait to.
Your trip in was okay?
Well, you know that, yeah, it was a bit touch and go. It got delayed, very late in, so but feeling fresh and breezy today to go ahead. Yeah.
Good to see you. I'm glad you made it. You made it. So you know, it's been really good partnership. We've been working on this study together for years. You know, we are lucky enough to have the trust and faith of the agencies like yourselves who share data with us in order to create this report. And you know, one of the stats we think about is how this has been scaling over the 4 years. Like in the first year, we measured maybe 10 billion ad impressions in Europe, which is a good start, but it was very small if you think about it. And we measured nearly 200 billion impressions this year. So significantly orders of magnitude, like the amount of volume that we're looking at. So nobody can say that our sample size is too small now. It's like we have some significance. In Europe, in the US, by contrast, we're up to 1 trillion impressions a year. So it's really crazy. And again, thanks to you. Tell us about how this report is received from your customers' perspective, internally at the agency, and how they use it.
Sure. I mean, it's important to say that, you know, clients come to an agency to access scale, as you just pointed out, leverage relationships and experiences that work, right? So, to go back to your point, you know, having, you know, benchmarks like the ad fraud study that TAG released that we happily contribute towards allows us to have some level of understanding and a threshold, right, that we can then optimize and better on behalf of our clients. And the good thing there is it's, you know, at market level and at format level. So that's useful for us from a planning perspective, optimization perspective, but also to have those conversations with clients as well, because there's going to be a wide spectrum, right? And there are going to be clients that are going to be zero tolerance, and we understand that. And those are going to be some tough conversations, but we're willing to have those conversations and then delve into the weeds a little bit more about what that actually means and what are the challenges there. And you know, you'll know this as well, that there's always going to be a level of discrepancy between, you know, agency and advertiser numbers versus publisher numbers, and then we're trying to find that bit in the middle that there's a compromise or commonality that we can both sides can work with.
And when you think about, because your role is, you're based in London, but your role is global. Right, but really kind of focusing on Europe for a minute. When you think about different markets within the Europe, how is this? You know, is this more important in certain markets than others to have this benchmark? You know, maybe it's a smaller country that might not have the deepest staff as some of the larger markets. Does this helpful to have? And do you feel like you're getting, you know, questions from different parts of Europe?
I believe so. You know, I get questioned quite a bit from the immediate markets in Europe, but also similarly a broader scale as well. You know, the likes of ad fraud is interesting, right? Because it can come in many formats, and you know, for us, we don't have one particular tactic that's going to be effective at dealing with it widespread. So all of that is useful for us and our markets and our clients within those markets as well. The critical thing is that we have, you know, an element of having a relational number to work towards, right? You know, being able to have those conversations with clients so they totally understand that there is a room for improvement or so forth is a useful starting point. Otherwise, you know, it's just another number that probably is like to scare them. And then, it's about adding that rationale behind it, and then a plan of action to go forward with. Because the reality is, these fraudsters are, are clever at what they do, right? That image of fraudsters that we had previously is probably, changing somewhat, evolving. They have sprint cycles, and to a point, even if we have felt that we have got a grips of it, there's a good chance that they're staying a couple of steps ahead. They're understanding the review process, and and what goes into removing those.
They're ready to come back. Yeah,
exactly.
They're ready to come back. Yeah, and you think about a couple of the numbers that are important, kind of digging into the numbers a little bit. Tag likes to call it the triple filter, right? And so triple filter to them means it's a tag certified agency, tag certified technology, tag certified supply partner. That's all three. And when you use all three, we're getting really low numbers. 0.55, I think, was the number that came out today, approximately. And then there's two filters, which is, only two of the parties. As soon as you take away one of the three, the number jumps to 1.5%. So there's a 1% spread between 2 and 3 hops. When you look at that on paper, sometimes it seems like it's not that big of a number. Oh, 0.5, 1.5. Tell me why that 1% makes such a huge difference.
Well, to start with, it's good to know that, both agencies and clients are, aware of it, getting to grips with it, aware of the threat, right? So we're taking steps to mitigate against the ad fraud. We are looking at, pre-bid solutions, or looking at SIVT, because that accounts for quite a lot of the IVT, that can be attributed back to, fraud and so forth. That it's an interesting part that we take, that, whilst that isn't a significant amount, it still equates to wastage, right? So, looking at ways that we can combat that is, useful for us and our clients, I would say.
When we think about the difference between the 0.5 and the 1.5, it seems like it's small, right? In pure number sense. But the truth is, it's really not. It's really a big deal. Do you agree with that? Do your clients agree with that?
Absolutely, and that difference can mean quite a bit for a particular client when it comes to media budgets, right? So that could have a significant impact on how we plan with their media going forward, and any sort of optimization that we can do with it. So it does make a difference for particular clients, especially ones with zero tolerance that is written into our contracts. So we look at ways that we can have more publisher level compliance and any sort of remediations within that as well. So there's important steps that we need to take, whilst the jump isn't as significant on the spreadsheet, so to speak.
Yeah. No, I'm glad you brought up contracts, like without getting super specific. And we've heard that when we do the qualitative interviews as well, that some of these rates, because we talk to everybody, are written into contracts. And so when you start to see the difference between 0.5 and 1.5, you start to see where people really start to get very upset. And so the benefit of having a report like this is the goalposts are now at least clearly drawn, right? So that's kind of one of the things that we've learned, and so just keep doing it. So anyway, final thoughts, like what's the message you want to deliver to the market about success or what we should be doing when it comes to
I think it's important that it's vital even that we don't just stay vigilant, but we actively participate and actively anticipate the fact that fraud is there, and when it pops when it emerges, where and how we're doing things to mitigate it collectively. And I think it's in everyone's interest to do that, right? So for the greater good of the industry, to raise the standards and uphold client values. That's important to everyone, and us in particular. That's where we come from for our clients.
Got it.